Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of the Road to Rotation. This is our penultimate episode here. We have our final leader from OP04 with just one leader left to go in all of our block 1 rotation leaders. But this one we have a one that's pretty close to my heart here. We have Yellow Purple Crocodile. He is a 5,000 power 4 life leader with opponent's turn once per turn. When a Dawn card on your field is returned to your Dawn deck by your effect, add up to one Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So this effectively makes your first Dawn minus on your opponent's turn free. That's really useful for certain defensive events. You can get a lot of extra value out of a defensive event if you have to use a Dawn minus a lot of times. So getting those for free is pretty great. Additionally, we have some ways in the deck of using this ability for some ramping effects. So that is pretty awesome for the deck. And we'll see as we get into the deck that we have some pretty interesting niche here in the yellow-purple space, specifically with a single card, which happens to be specifically working with this leader and with the blue-purple. That is Oh Come My Way, which we will get into towards the end of the section. But then this is kind of the core of what the deck will be built around because it's so unique to what this leader does. And actually after rotation, this card will actually not work in any of the existing leaders, which is kind of interesting. There are not very many cards that you can say have actually zero text on them outside of their specific leaders. And once rotation happens, there won't be any purple Baroque Works type leaders in the game. So let's kind of dig into Baroque Works. So first up, we have a 2-cost 3,000 power 1k counter, Mrs. Golden Week. This one's kind of niche, but it was one of the early versions of character freezing. So this one has on play, if your leader's type includes Baroque Works, up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less cannot attack until the start of your next turn. So this is paired with a trigger of Dawn -1. Remember that the leader ability would give you that Dawn right back as active. Dawn -1, play this card. So this is kind of like a smaller version of the Perona, who we'll see later in the video from OP14, but this one came out all the way back in OP04. It is obviously much worse than Perona because it only targets 5 cost or less, and it is a much weaker body, so it is less effective as a trigger. And it does cost a Dawn -1, which even though it's not as impactful in this deck, this ability here is only once per turn, so there's a limit to how many times you can use the Dawn -1 on your opponent's turn and still come out ahead. So pretty neat little tech card. I always liked to run one of these maybe just as an interesting way to kind of get around some of our opponent's cards, and it was searchable. Next up, we have the 2-cost 2,000 power 1k counter, Miss Valentine. This is a pretty classic searcher. It's on play. Look at the top 5 cards from look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 card with a type including Baroque Works and add it to your hand. Then place the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order. Notice it doesn't have the rider where you can't pick Miss Valentine, so you can use one of these to search into another one. And then just like with Miss Golden Week, it has a trigger of Dawn -1. Play this card. That'll be a pretty common theme. In a lot of these Baroque Works cards work very specifically in this leader without harming you because the Dawn -1 effectively becomes free, as long as you're not getting too many of them in a row. After that, we have one of the most important cards in the entire deck. This is Miss Wednesday. She is a 3-cost 4,000 power 1k counter with blocker, and on your opponent's attack once per turn, Dawn -1. If your leader's type includes Baroque Works, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So this effectively sets one Dawn active on its own, but because it triggers your leader ability, you will end up with 2 active Dawn at the cost of a Dawn -1. So this is actually ramp in the deck, and actually is one of the more important cards that you can have in the deck, allowing you to ramp on your opponent's turn without having to invest any extra resources, because this blocker is just fine on its own as is. After that, we have one of our 2Ks. This is a 3-cost, 1000 power 2K counter with Activate Main. You may trash this character and one of your characters with a type including Baroque Works. Add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. And it has a trigger of play this card. So the general play pattern for this one is if you're not using it as a 2K and you do find it in your triggers, you can trigger it out alongside maybe a Valentine that you played on a prior turn. End up trashing both to ramp another time. It makes for a nice trigger to have on a 2K, meaning that sometimes you'll just get extra value out of it. And then a lot of the times it can just be your 2K, which is perfectly serviceable for a card like this. After that, we have a pretty classic purple card here, the 4-cost, 1000 power, 1K counter, Mr. Chubong Clay, with on play, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active, and then when attacking, select up to one of your opponent's characters. This character's base power becomes the same as the selected character's power during this turn. Great on-curve ramp ability, while also generating you a threat into the late game, because your opponents will inevitably play something that is worth copying for ability, and then you get to swing later. The other thing that's really nice about this is the Dawn that you get is active, which means you'll immediately be able to use it with an event or some other effect and get it back active again with Crocodile, making for just a lot of things that you like on a card. Definitely a 4 of, especially if you are running the Searcher package. After that, we have another 2K, 4-cost, 4000 power, 2K counter, Miss Doublefinger. She has on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck, and set it as rested. Then she also has a trigger of Dawn -1. Remember that when you trigger this, you do get it back right away, and then you can pitch a card to ramp 1 as well. This is kind of an old thing. Most purple cards that ramp don't need to trash cards anymore, but this one was one of those that did, and is pretty nice as a 2K that sometimes can get you ahead on cards into the late game. After that, we have Miss All Sunday, 5-cost, 5000 power, no counter, with on play, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Then if you have 6 or more Dawn cards on your field, draw 1 card. And she also has a trigger of Dawn -2, play this card. The Dawn -2 combined with the leader ability and the ramp that she gives you herself ends up being a net neutral, just play out this card, making it quite reasonable in this deck, even if in other decks it would not be usable for that effect. And on top of getting a free body, you also do get to draw a card in most situations. So pretty serviceable. One that competes a little bit with Bonclay in the ramp spot, but very useful to have a kind of critical mass of these abilities so that you can hit the end game really early with this leader and begin chaining those cards into the end game. Next up, we have a bit of a newer one here. We have the Crocodile, who's a 6-cost, 8000 power, no counter, with on your opponent's attack, once per turn, Dawn -1. If your leader's type includes Baroque Works, up to 1 of your leader or character cards gains 2000 power during this battle. Giving you a free 2K at the cost of a Dawn which you get back right away, is a great spot to be. You don't want too many of these, because obviously you cannot use this ability too liberally without harming your ability to stay at high Dawn, but definitely a strong one to have the first of. Yeah, not too much else to say. Next up, we have our classic top end for this deck. It is an 8-cost, 9000 power, no counter, with on play, Dawn -2. If your leader's type includes Baroque Works, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. And then on your opponent's attack, once per turn, Dawn -1, draw 1 card, then trash 1 from your hand. So this hits kind of all the notes that you want. You're a yellow deck, so gaining life is actually quite useful at gaining you trigger cards. And then it also has the on opponent's attack, you can don -1, so that you are being able to take advantage of this leader ability to get you some card cycling, which can be really important when you have cards like Miss All Sunday here, who can be a brick. If you don't need it in hand, you can cycle it out. The don -2 is the biggest strike against this card, making it kind of not desirable to play it out too early. But once you get to 10 Dawn, it's very easy to just constantly be cycling through your deck with this Croc and using the ability every turn, giving you a whole lot of access to different cards, helping you find what you need. Next up, I'm going to skip over Oh Come My Way for a second to look at Colors Trap, which is the last Baroqueworks card that I wanted to kind of highlight. It is definitely not as powerful as some of the other cards, but being a searchable Baroqueworks type card is pretty nice. This one is a 1-cost event with counter, don -1. Up to one of your leader or characters gains 1000 power during this battle. Then rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. It also has a trigger with add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So a nice trigger to let you get ahead without investing any resources. But also being able to rest one of your opponent's 4 costs or less can be really backbreaking against certain decks. Not quite as universal as it used to be. This used to be a very nice tech card that you would run 1 or 2 of, just for the off chance that you would find it and be able to go for a game in an interesting spot. The card that you would compare it to nowadays would be Flame Split. This one trades the don -1 on this card for the opponent having low life on Flame Split. Both serving a very similar sort of situation, though, at the end of the day. And this one being searchable and our archetype. The final card, and probably the most important one, other than maybe Miss Wednesday in the deck, is Oh Come My Way. This is a 1-cost event with counter, don -1. If your leader's type includes Baroqueworks, select up to one of your characters, change the attack target to the selected character. And then a trigger of don -1, draw 2 cards. So this is definitely the gimmick for this deck. There are a lot of cards that have on KO abilities that if you can make your opponent KO them, you get a lot of advantage out of. So that is actually going to be our next category. But at a very minimum, this is essentially a infinite counter card. As long as you have a character on board, you can direct, no matter how large the attack is, you can direct it into one of your, maybe Miss Valentine's or something like that, making for an immensely powerful counter card, as long as you can manage to keep at least one character on the board. You will not die. And if that character happens to have a really good on KO that your opponents don't want to deal with, then this can be even stronger than just an infinite counter event, giving you, in addition to a free get out of a swing, you also get to trigger that on KO ability. With that in mind, the next category I want to go over is on KO abilities. So they come in all different forms here. First up, we have Dellinger, and the Don Quixote Pirates stuff from OP14 is all pretty good in this leader, as long as it doesn't require you be playing a Don Quixote Pirates type leader. Dellinger here is a 1-cost 2K with 1K counter, and on KO, add up to 1 card from your Don deck and rest it, and then look at the top 5 cards from your deck and reveal a Don Quixote Pirates type card and add it to your hand, and place the rest of your deck on in any order. So this makes that swing that you're redirecting into a search, which can be quite useful, because I do think that one of the viable packages for this leader is the Don Quixote Pirates type, because with Oh Come My Way you can trigger this. It is a lot harder than in Purple Dofi, because you do have to find the Oh Come My Ways to make it work. But it is a way you can use kind of the most valuable of the redirect abilities, or these on KO abilities, in an effective way. So something to think about. I don't know if I would necessarily include Dellinger as one of my few effects, but it is definitely a viable option, I think, if you really want to go hard into it. Next up, we have the 3-cost, 5,000 power, no counter Absalom from the Thriller Bark Pirates type. This is another one where we have a lot of on-KO abilities or otherwise abilities that allow us to turn an opponent's attack into some amount of value. In this case, it's a look at the top 3 for a Thriller Barks type card and add to your hand, then plus the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. This also has a yellow trigger, which is good in almost any yellow deck, of play up to 1 Thriller Bark Pirates type character card with a cost of 4 or less from your trash rested, allowing you to kind of make your bodies keep generating more bodies, allowing you to keep up the pressure potentially. After that, we have a pretty classic one. We have the 4-cost, 6,000 power, no counter Kikunojo. With on KO, if your opponent has 3 or less life cards, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. And a trigger, if your opponent has 3 or less life cards, play this card. This one is really useful in the context of Oh Come My Way because it absorbs an attack, a la a block, that also heals you a card very often, effectively giving you 2 life worth of value for the cost of running Kikunojo in your deck and playing it out, which is already a pretty good ability or good card to play out on its own, and then drawing one of your Oh Come My Ways. After that, we have another similar one, 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter, Basil Hawkins, with on KO, trash up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life cards. Switching in the case of Kikunojo, this is essentially a heal 1 off of an attack. This one is a deal 1 on the attack. Not quite, though, because this can never be the lethal swing, unlike one of the cards we'll get to later. This also has a trigger of draw 2 cards and trash 1 from your hand. So another great trigger that you can have to help you dig for those Oh Come My Ways to kind of get ahead. After that, we have 4-cost, 0 power, 1k counter, blocker of Kozuki Hiyori. She has an on KO of you may trash 1 card from your hand. If your leader is multicolored, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Opponent wants to use a perfume femur or something like that to get around your blocker. Well, you can use Oh Come My Way to say, nope, you still have to get into this blocker, which will heal you 1. So just like what Kikunojo does. After that, we have another one here. We have Sugar. This is from the Don Quixote Pirates type with 4-cost, 1,000 power, 1k counter. With on play, add up to 1 Don card from your Don deck and set it as active, similar to what Bonclay does. And then on KO, if your opponent has 6 or more Don cards on their field, play up to 1 Don Quixote Pirates type character with a cost of 5 or less from your hand, allowing you to turn that KO into another potentially attacking body, which can be pretty good. One of the better ones for a more aggressive plan, probably alongside Hawkins and Kikunojo, as just another thing that you can redirect into and get generally sticky bodies out of. After that, we have Baby 5, 4-cost, 1k power, 1k counter. With on play, add up to 1 Don card from your Don deck and set it as active. And then on KO, Don -1, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your top of your life cards. Very similar to how Kikunojo works, again, on another body that you could redirect into without too much difficulties, and allowing you to play it out as a ramp card. So kind of a mix between Kikunojo and Bonclay. After that, we have Dr. Hogback, 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter. With on KO, play up to 1 character with a cost of 4 or less and a trigger other than Dr. Hogback from your trash. Another way of generating a very sticky body. And this one also has a trigger of play up to 1 of your Thriller Bark Pirates type character cards with a cost of 4 or less from your trash rested, making it a good trigger to hit as well, giving you bodies for free. Again, fitting in with the other Thriller Bark Pirates, we have the 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter Perona with both on play and on KO. Up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next hand phase. And then trigger, play up to 1 Thriller Bark Pirates type character card with a cost of 4 or less from your trash rested. Again, with all of these, you're getting kind of sticky or otherwise advantage out of your characters that your opponents don't want to let live because they will keep hitting them, but they also don't want them to die. But with Okamawe, you can redirect into one of these abilities, getting you some good value out of those swings. After that, we have another yellow card who's come up significantly in more recent days. We have the Tsunami, 5 cost, 6,000 powers, 1k counter with on play, give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader. Then, if your opponent has 3 or more life cards, your opponent adds 1 card from the top of their life to their hand. And then on KO, you may turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face up, play up to 1 character card with 6,000 power or less from your hand. Another version of this sticky body, this time giving you upfront damage towards their life and a lack of counter. But generally a very strong card here that works really well with a number of different cards here. All of the cards that we talked about prior to this all can come in off of this on KO ability. As long as you have your top life not face up. So quite effective. After that, another Don Quixote Pirates type character with 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter with on play. If your leader has the Don Quixote Pirates type, which we do not, so we won't get this on play, but we do get the on KO, which is draw 2 cards and trash 1 from your hand. Then add up to 2 Don cards from your Don deck and rest them, making this a very effective one. If you have it access to it early in the game, it can represent a whole lot of ramping, because if you use Okama Way on this, maybe on your 6 Dawn turn or something where you can hold up 1, then on KO, you will draw 2, trash 1 from your hand, and add 2 more, and the one that you Dawn minus from Okama Way will get back, so you end up at 8 Dawn going into the next turn, which would put you on 10. So you can go straight from 6 to 10 with this card, making you all the way into the end game for your other top end cards and whatever off of a 1-2 card combo. After that, we have another really good one, Bartholomew Kuma, 6 cost, 7,000 power, 1k counter. With on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Then this character gains +2 cost until the end of your opponent's next end phase. And your opponent's turn on KO, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Just like Kikunojo, you have a really effective, essentially heal 2 at the cost of your Okama Way, which is really strong. And it represents a heal when it comes down initially, making it a very, very strong card, all with a good 7k body and a 1k counter, making this pretty much an all-around all-star in the deck. After that, we have one that's a little more situational, but also allows for one of the more unique play patterns in the game. This is Nico Robin. She is a 7 cost, 8,000 power, no counter. Her on play only works if you are a Straw Hat Crew type, so we won't worry about that too much. In Nami, this is a menace because of that on play, but in this deck, we're only worried about the on KO. Opponent's turn on KO, you may deal 1 damage to your opponent. Notably, this is worded differently than we saw with Hawkins, which is trash an opponent's life, or with Nami, which is put 1 into their hand. This one is deal a damage, so it does 2 different things that we didn't see in the other 2. When you deal damage to an opponent's life, if they have life, it will cause those cards to trigger if that's relevant. Similarly, if they are on 0 life and you do this, your opponent will die. What that makes is, this is a card that if you can get one onto the board, your opponent can no longer swing at you with 8,000 power or more without running the risk of dying for it. Because this deals damage, it can end the game, making it kind of an interesting spot where your opponent really can't deal with your stuff properly. After that, we have one more card here. We have the 8 cost, 8,000 power, no counter, Don Quixote do Flamingo. With, if you have 2 or less life cards, this character gains Rush, making it a very effective character to come out and pressure your opponent's board. Or surprise, come out and attack your opponent's face, and maybe going for game when your opponent really wasn't expecting it. But it also has opponent's turn on KO, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Yet another card here alongside Kuma and Kikunojo at threatening to make Okamai Way into a 2-life situation. Notably, all of these have more than 5k. So if your opponent is swinging only 5ks at you, even though you get the redirect here, you will not be able to KO your own guys with those stat lines. So just something to be noting. If your opponent susses out that you have the Okama Way, which will be very common situation to find yourself in, that's one of the main kind of niches for this yellow-purple Crocodile, is that you can play Okama Way. Because your opponents will kind of assume you have it, because it is such a blowout potential. Oftentimes, if they figure it out and can swing a bunch of 5k swings, it makes it really tough because you have to counter out of those out of hand or burn an Okama Way without getting its maximum value. So these are all of the cards I wanted to highlight from the on KO thing. There's one more category I kind of want to focus in on, and that is a mix between the Don Quixote Pirates type and the Seven Warlords of the Sea. We have some interesting cards in both of those different archetypes that I think are worth bringing up. First up, we have a top 5 searcher, which is one of the resting searchers, which allows you to search more than once. In Sugar, 1 cost 1k power, 1k counter, activate main. You can rest 1 to look at the top 5 for Don Quixote Pirates. So very useful in that your opponents have to respect it and swing into it. If they don't have a searcher, then that's essentially one less swing that you have to deal with from their leader. And if they do, then it lets you keep their board a little clear so that you don't have to worry about them using those cards in the later game. Sometimes those searchers are really good fuel for stuff like Jozu or Slave Arrow or other cards that are potentially in the meta. Next up, we have 5 cost, 6,000 power, no counter, Senor Pink, who's another Don Quixote Pirates card. With on play, Don -1, add up to 1 purple event with a cost of 5 or less from your trash to your hand, then set up to 1 of your Don cards as active, making this really good at getting back and reusing your Okama Ways, letting you kind of maximize out every use of that card. It is a Don -1, so you do need to pay attention to its use when it does come out, but it's definitely nice because it does give you the active Don to use the card after you recover it from the trash. After that, we have the 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter, Don Quixote Rocinante. With on play, you may trash 1 event card from your hand to draw 2 cards. And then the end of your turn, if you have 7 or more Don cards on your field, set up to 2 of your Don cards as active. This one can be pretty important at allowing you to always have the initial Don up for Okama Way. One thing that your opponents can do to be pesky is to use Don resting cards like Dead Man's Game or Hody Jones to rest down your Don after you've used your leader ability, which can put you at risk of not having access to Okama Way. But this one kind of gives you a lot of extra insulation from that, giving you at least 2 Don, making it harder to be Hodied or Dead Man's Gamed out of the game. After that, we have a 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter, blocker, Don Quixote do Flamingo. With on play, if your leader is multicolored, add up to 1 Don card from your Don deck and rest it. This one is just a great little card, and especially if you are running Don Quixote Pirates with searching, then this is a searchable way to get to your end game even faster. After that, we have another 7 Warlords, Boa Hancock, a 5 cost, 7,000 power, no counter. With on play, you may trash a card with trigger from your hand, your opponent's rested leader, or up to 1 of your opponent's characters other than Monkey D. Luffy cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next end phase. And then a trigger of KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters at the cost of 4 or less. Making this quite an effective way at stifling your opponent's attacks into the endgame. And as a good attacking body nonetheless. So yeah, there's just a lot to like about this one. Not quite as effective as some of the other cards, but especially if you are leaning into the 7 Warlords archetype, I could definitely see there being an angle for this card in your deck. After that, we already went over this crocodile, these 2 crocodiles actually, as both really good cards. They also have the 7 Warlords type, which will be useful in the future if we ever get some more yellow or purple 7 Warlords support, maybe a Searcher or something like that. Both would be options for searching in the extended format. After that, we have another Don Quixote Doflamingo with 8 cost, 9,000 power, no counter, with on play, Don -1. Play a Don Quixote Pirates type character card with a cost of 5 or less from your hand. And then on your opponent's attack, once per turn, you may rest one of your Don cards, add up to one of your Don cards from your Don deck and set it as active, allowing you to kind of recover that Don -1 that you got previously. This also works pretty nicely with the leader ability, because if you have access to a different Don -1 ability on your opponent's turn, you can use that Don -1 to effectively set the card active, and then use this to ramp another one, making this quite effective in the deck. Next up, we have the yellow Dofi that we already talked about. And after that, another 7 Warlords top end card. We have Gecko Moria. 8 cost, 10,000 power, no counter. With on play, select up to one of your Thriller Bark Pirates type characters with a cost of 4 or less from your trash and play it, or add it to the top of your life cards face up. It also has a trigger of play up to one character card with a cost of 4 or less from your trash, making it quite effective as a top end, giving you a heal and potentially a body if you can put one of your Thriller Bark type characters into life while another one is still in the trash. All of those triggers synergize together very nicely. After that, we have yet another 7 Warlords top end card. This one is Boa Hancock. 9 cost, 10,000 power, with no counter. And on play, if your leader has the 7 Warlords of the Sea type, add up to one card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. Then add up to one card from the top of your opponent's life to the owner's hand. This one also has a trigger of play up to one character with a cost with 6,000 power or less, and a trigger from your hand, making it another good trigger for getting out bodies. And yeah, there's a lot to like about this. You could use this trigger to play out Kikunojo, and then use Okan My Way to KO Kikunojo, giving you 2 more life, making a lot of potential life swapping out of this card. Last character we want to go over here is the 10 cost, 10,000 power Don Flamingo. No counter, but on play, Don -3, you should choose one. The first option requires the Don Quixote Pirates type leader, so we will ignore that one. But the second one, which is still a very strong mode, is up to 3 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 7 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next end phase. This will be pretty interesting going into Extended with Enel coming out, because most of their top end is all less than 7, allowing you to freeze 3 potential cards out of them is very effective, on top of being a really nice target for Okan My Way. Your opponent swings a 5 and you have run out of counter, Okan My Way can redirect it over to the 10, and that same logic applies all the way up to 9k without you having to invest any extra stuff, making Okan My Way very strong. Final card in the 7 Warlords type is the 1 cost counter event with, if you have 2 or less life cards, up to one of your opponent's active characters cannot attack during this turn, making you kind of immune to a full attack, which can be very effective. And this one also has a trigger of play up to one character with a cost or with a 6,000 power or less, and a trigger from your hand. So the same trigger as the Boa thing. So the main reason I wanted to highlight all of these warlords here is you are the one leader who's kind of linking these two together, yellow and purple type, where we have a lot of good top end cards here. All of these different warlords are all very strong top end cards, And the only thing that we're missing from being able to make them all into a unified deck is one Searcher, probably, for 7 Warlords. And I do think that this would be a very effective deck, maybe going into Extended. It does have some limitations, and that its leader ability does require a degree of support. But once you have kind of your minimums met with working with your leader, Yellow Purple 7 Warlords of the Sea is a pretty well supported archetype with lots of different cards that all kind of synergize together in interesting ways. So I wanted to call that out. But those are the cards I wanted to go over. Let's hop over to the sim and look at a sample deck list. All right, now looking at our sample deck list. So I opted to go for a little bit more traditional yellow deck, or at least in the current meta. We have Boa and Moria as our main top end cards. I only opted to use a couple Robins just for the kind of checkmate situation that you can set up. And then I went with Perona, Hogback, and Kumashi as my cards to fuel Gecko Moria. We have Kuma to heal, and then some good triggers in Baby 5, Kikunojo, Double Finger, a little bit of ramp in Bonclay and in Miss Wednesday, and then of course the most important card for the deck, Okamawe. So that is it. It seems pretty simple at the end of the day. Other cards you can include here is maybe the Nami instead of Kuma if you want to swap those out. They're both expensive, so I don't want to suggest either of them as a budget option. You could go with a couple extra Thriller Bark cards if you wanted to maybe get a little bit cheaper. Alternatively, actually most of the rest of the cards are pretty cheap. Robins are definitely not required. I know they're a little more expensive. I would recommend Boa, but if you aren't able to get Boa, then the 8-cost Crocodile would also be quite good here. One of the things that this list does not capitalize on as well as possible is the leader's ability itself. It's mainly using this for the 7 Warlords type, so that you can run Boa, and then for Okamawe, just being a Baroque Works card. But that is it for this video. We have just one more edition of the Road to Rotation, and it's kind of going to be a special one in some sense. The only leader that's left in block 1 didn't come from any of the OP sets, didn't come from a starter deck. It was actually a promo leader, and it is the red Uta card. So a very old one and a very weak one at the end of the day. So it'll be interesting to see what we can find for it, even though it does have a kind of unique styling to it. We'll see what we can cook up with that red Uta, who will be our final one. And I think during that video, I'll probably do some minimal wrap-ups for the series as a whole. We've been doing this for a long time now, and we will be on a break for rotation discussions for a bit until the next time comes up, and which will be, I think I checked it and it was like 38 more leaders, so we'll have another series starting 38 weeks out from the next rotation. So I hope you guys have been enjoying this series. It's been fun for me to create it. And I hope you guys will stick around and check out the finale coming next week. But until then, I will sign off and say bye-bye.